Welcome to our first tutorial on graphics in Python. So we're going to be using the Kinta module. Now, this is actually an inbuilt module that is part of the Python language. So we do not need to import this as a package, but we do need to import it into the actual program. So it's already in repl.it, but we need to now actually import it. So we go from Kinta, and you'll notice there's a silent T in there. From Kinta, import all, okay? And what we're now going to do is we're going to set up a little box over here. And that box is called a widget, okay? And so we're going to set up this widget, and we're going to, the main box that we're going to use is called a root box, okay? So that is the thing that houses all your programs. So if we see here, this is a widget over here, and the whole big part of this widget would be the root widget, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to write root, lowercase. So whenever we write a variable, we need to do lowercase in Python. So root equals tk, lowercase, open brackets, close brackets. And that is actually going to create that box. And one more thing we need to do is when the box is open, that widget is open, it needs to be continually updated. It updates at about 60 times a second, but it needs to be continually updated so that anything that we do in that box gets updated as well. So the way we do that is we write root dot main loop. And as you can see, as I've got halfway through writing main loop, I can see there, I can click on there and just open brackets and close brackets. And that means that all my programming now goes between this root directory or root widget. We've created the root widget, and we're going to be programming in between here. So just giving it some space. So let's have a look. What we're going to do is we're going to run this little code, and it's just going to produce a little box here. It's going to produce a little error down here. Don't worry about that. Let's run it. And you'll see here is the box. And that is the widget we're talking about. Okay? So now we're going to put something into that widget. So let's see how we do that. Okay, so the first thing we usually do with any kind of program is we put a hello world thing in here, and we're going to do that. Here we go. So we're going to create a little variable, and we're going to call that variable myLabel. We could have called it anything we like. Again, notice I'm actually writing myLabel in lowercase, and that's really important. Okay, so now I've got equals, and then we write label with the capital, and label is actually a reserved word, okay? Whereas myLabel is not. But label, capital L, A-E-B-E-L, is a reserved word, and in there we're going to actually, within the root, we're going to put the text equals, inverted commas, hello world, okay? And so, oh, I've spelt hello wrong. Okay, there we go, hello world. And I might even put a capital there, probably important, and maybe we'll capitalize that. So let's have a look at that. MyLabel equals label, open brackets, and within that root widget, we're going to put the text hello world. But we've created the event, we've created that thing, but what we haven't done is we haven't actually placed it within the widget, even though we've set it up so it can. So the way we place it into the widget is we write myLabel, which is that variable, dot pack, and open brackets and close brackets. And the pack little program is a little program that actually will place it up here. So this is what we create the label in, and it's telling us where it's going to go. But this part actually places it into the program. So let's run that and see what happens. So now you'll notice that this little hello world appears. But I want you to also notice that the widget is far smaller, and this way smaller, and this way smaller. So it's gone to the exact distance of the actual hello world, right? Whereas the previous one, if I was to just hash that out so you couldn't see it, and run it, so stop and run, you see how there's the whole widget there. But if we put anything in, it immediately closes around it. Okay, so that's good to know. Okay, so here we go, see that. All right, so hello world is obviously the first thing that we want to do. But what if we wanted to actually create a button in there? Okay, so we're going to create a button that does something. So let's create a little button. Now, we're going to create a variable called myButton, and we could have called it apples for all I care, but it just helps us understand what it is. And we use the button keyword, which is, as you can see, it's actually a word that's already preempted there, because again, it is a reserved word. So I'm creating what the button's going to do, and we're going to put it inside the root, and we're going to have the text equal to what? So if we said the text was equal to hello world, and then we've created the button, but what we haven't done is we haven't packed it into the actual program. So let's pack it in. So my button dot pack, open brackets, close brackets. And now what we will see once we run this is we will see hello world, but we'll also see the button called hello world. So let's run that. Hello world, and that's the text box, but this is a button, and I can click on that button and it's different. Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to do. I want you to create a button and a hello world item, and once you've done that, we'll go on to the next video. Thank you.